Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Brooke Roll. Alright, it's Tuesday. It's kind of a nice warm day out today, and I got a couple things I need to do first. First off, I'm getting a little fuzzy. It's time to go get my ears lowered, as my dad used to say. Get a haircut, need to get that done. It's also coming up to the end of February. I got to get my tax papers in. I've been putting this off for a while, and so I got all that stuff gathered up and put together. We're going to bring that over, and then we're going to try and figure out what we're going to do today. And because it's going to be such a warm day today, I kind of opened up the box, and looks like Flash is shuffling around a little bit, so she may be out and about today. Maybe we'll be able to catch up with her a little bit. Alright, I'm back from my little errands this morning. Got a haircut. Think we're in better shape on that. I got my taxes turned in. I got to really maybe think about maybe doing something different with taxes in the future. The first year I came here, I've always kind of depended on my dad to help me with taxes. I've never been really that good at this kind of stuff. And so when I moved here, I knew I was going to have to do something on that front. And I kind of asked for the advice of my brother-in-law, who's an investment broker, who he thought I should have help me with my taxes. It was especially important that first year because I was going to have a huge income that year because I had the profits from the house that I was going to have to deal with, both in California and federal taxes. So my brother-in-law recommended a tax corporation or tax company to help me file my taxes that first year, and I've been kind of going to them every year since then. But my taxes are relatively simple now. You know, I don't have a real complicated income structure. Yeah, okay, the vlogging factors into it a little bit, but it isn't really that much, and the combined income and all that isn't really a whole lot. But I've still been going to them over the last couple of years, and one of the things I notice is it's a little pricey. You know, if I'm going to get taxes done and still have to pay $50 or $100 in taxes every year, it's a little hard having to fork out $750 or $850 to get the taxes prepared. So I'm going to maybe have to look in the future of finding maybe a more economical option for that. But whatever, we've got them in this year. We'll go with it, go with these guys again this year. They've done a good job. It's just I don't really think I need that much at this point because it isn't quite the same as when you have the profits from a house that you got to deal with, and you want to keep as much away from Uncle Gavin and Uncle Sam as possible. Now, you may recall that last weekend I went to Lampesaw to get my grandmother's antique clock repaired, and during that trip I went to this funky little shop that had all sorts of yard ornaments, and I got these things. And you recall, I hung these up on the wall, and I thought they added a little bit of color, and they were really beautiful out here. But one of the things I talked to the salesperson when I was buying it, I was questioning, how well are they going to hold up to the environment, because it gets hot here and it's sunny, and these things are really vibrant and really colorful and really beautiful, and I don't want them fading with time. And she recommended that I could probably put a clear coat on them, get some clear coat spray paint, and that would protect them. And she recommended maybe going to Lowe's or something. I was thinking to myself, yeah, that ain't gonna happen, but I would bet you Home Depot would have the same thing. And I went over to Home Depot today and found a kind of a cool, not maybe cool, but a good option as a clear coat that I'm going to put on these things today. And I think that by doing that, that'll make these things hold up better and keep them looking nice for a long time. So let's get going with that. Oh, and in the time that I was gone, Flash has indeed woken up and is out in the yard somewhere. In fact, I went looking for her just a few minutes ago because, I figured she'd be out getting something to eat. The grass is actually starting to come in a little bit, so there's some green shoots there so she can find something to eat. But she just went from one place to sleep to another place to sleep, and she's just kind of back here right now, cooling off a little bit. Maybe a little later we'll bring her some treats out that she can munch on. So I've used a lot of this Rust-Oleum stuff before and have become a huge fan of it. Never dealt with a clear coat before, but it should work pretty well. It's provided good protection for a lot of other stuff that I've done in the past, and so I'm expecting this will be real good. I've elected to go with a matte finish because I don't want to really make it glossy. I kind of like the appearance of this stuff right now, and it's got kind of a matte finish already, you know, so I think that that's going to work better. Now I'm noticing there's all sorts of layers on this, so I'm going to have to kind of be a little creative in terms of getting good coverage on all the pieces, because we don't want to get any areas that are left unprotected and have them weather at a different rate than everything else. Now the nice thing about this Rust-Oleum stuff is it claims that it will protect against ultraviolet. And ultraviolet light is going to be what's going to cause these things to fade with time. So hopefully we ought to be able to keep these things looking beautiful and really vivid for years and years to come. Now basically I'm going to use the same procedure I use whenever I do any kind of a spray paint. Basically you just want to keep a nice moves back and forth. You don't want to just sit there and spray it in one area, spray it here. You want to kind of sweep back and forth so you get a nice smooth even coat with no drips, because even a clear coat, if you get drips on it, it's going to show up. And like I said, since there's a lot of layers here, I'm going to kind of focus on the layers underneath first, and then we'll go over the top of it. So I'm just going to kind of come in here from an angle and go around to the other side here. And then we're going to just kind of do an overall coat over the top of him. Kind of come in from the sides a little bit here so we get all the angles here. And I think that looks good for that one. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, so we got one coat on all of them. They look a little glossy right now just because the clear coat is a little bit damp. But when it dries out, it should look a lot better. So we're going to give this stuff about 30 minutes to dry. We'll decide then whether I want to put another coat on it. Maybe not. Probably won't have to, but maybe 2 coats won't be a bad idea. So we'll give it about 30 minutes and see what happens. I'll catch up with you in 30 minutes. All right, a little time has passed, and I've actually put 2 coats on these. The first one got through. It looked pretty, I could almost couldn't tell that it was they'd put anything on it, and I figured, you know what? It isn't making that big of a difference in the appearance. It's not making any appearance difference as I can tell. So I'm going to put a second coat on just to make sure that we got a good coat and to make sure that we got every possible square micrometer of this thing covered. So this is what they look like. I think they're going to look good. They should hold up now for years and years to come. The UV protection should prevent the color from fading, and I think they're going to look fantastic out in the yard. Let's put them back out there and get a final look at what they look like. I do think though that I'm going to open up the garage door, because I got to admit, when I was shooting that last scene, the fumes in here were so strong that I was almost coughing. It was so strong in here, so we got to air this place out a little bit. Alright, we got these things all back outside, and you can't even tell that anything has changed. But hopefully the difference is when you look at them in 10 years, they won't look like anything has changed either. So I think that's all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.